Okay, so now we're going to divide fractions. And again, we have a fun little poster in our Google Classroom that just reminds us that we have to keep, change, and flip if we're going to divide fractions. So you can look in there as a resource as well. There's 3 different scenarios that I have up here. I've got fraction divided by fraction, I've got whole divided by fraction, and I have fraction divided by whole. So remember, guys, if it's whole divided by fraction, you're always going to end up with a whole number as your answer. If you're dividing fraction divided by whole, you're always going to end up with a fraction. So that can kind of be something you can memorize too, to double check your work to make sure you're not forgetting something in the process. Okay, so we're going to start with the fraction divided by fraction. Technically, you can't really divide fractions. You have to turn them into multiplication, which is why we're keeping, changing, and flipping. So we keep the first fraction, so we're just going to rewrite it underneath here, okay? I taught y'all to draw an arrow and to do a KCF just to remind yourself of what you're doing. You're keeping, you're changing, so you're changing your division sign to a multiplication sign, and then you're flipping, or you're turning this into the inverse. So you're taking your fraction and you're just writing it as the inverse, okay? Once you have it set up as multiplication, this is easy. This is just what we've done the whole time. You're just going to multiply straight across. So you've got 4 times 3 is 12. You have 7 times 2 is 14. And just like always, we have to look at what we have. Can we reduce this? Well, we're looking at 2 even numbers, guys, so we know for sure we have what? We know we have 2 as a common factor. The only other thing that makes 12 is 4 and 3. Neither one of those go into 14. So our super one is going to be 2 over 2. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. And 14 divided by 2 is 7. So our final answer is 6/7. We know we're finished because we're 1 away. Okay? All right, so we're over here and we have whole divided by fraction. Well, we want to change this to a fraction, guys. We want to change this. It's called a rational number. So anytime you have a whole number, remember all we have to do to turn this into a rational number or into a fraction is put a 1 under it. So I always have taught y'all rewrite it with a 1 under it first, okay? Because if you forget to do that, sometimes you mess up the process of changing, keeping, changing, and flipping. So go ahead and rewrite your problem, but put a 1 underneath your whole number. And now you're ready to keep, change, and flip. So again, our little arrow just reminds us what we're doing. We are keeping, we are changing, and we are flipping. Once we're there, we're going to multiply straight across. We have 8 times 3 is 24. We have 1 times 5 is 5. And what are we looking at? Well, we're looking at an improper fraction, right? We have a numerator that's bigger than our denominator, so we're going to turn this into a mixed number. So 5 is going to go into 24. Remember, this is division, so this is 24 divided by 5. So 5 goes into 24, 5, 10, 15, 20. So 4 is our whole number, but 5 times 4 is only 20, and we've got 24. So we've got to go 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we've got 4 in our numerator. Our denominator doesn't change. We're 1 away in our fraction, so we know it's simplified. We know it's reduced to lowest terms, and that's going to be your final answer. So you might go, but Miss Brackett, you told us whole divided by fraction is going to give us a whole. Yes, it's not always going to give you just a whole number, but it's going to give you a whole number in your answer. So it may be just a whole number by itself, or it may be a mixed number, okay? All right, so now we've got fraction divided by whole. So again, we need to turn this to a rational number. So instead of just having an 8, I'm just going to go ahead and erase it just for time's sake. You're going to put a 1 under it, okay? Now we're going to keep, change, and flip, okay? We're going to keep. We're going to change our division to multiplication. We're going to flip, turn it into the inverse, and then we're going to multiply straight across. So 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 8 is 24. 8, 16, 24. So we're looking, again, is this reduced to lowest terms? Is 3 a factor of 24? Well, it is. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So we know 3 goes into 24, so we have to reduce this to lowest terms. So we're going to divide by our super 1 of 3 over 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 24 divided by 3 is 8. We know we're finished now because 1's our numerator. We can't go lower than that. So did our fraction divided by a whole end up as a fraction? Yes, it did. And that's how you divide fractions.